Now, with that in mind, we're going to shift to the book. And this is very interesting because our book for this week is a book called Dealer by Richard Woodley. And here's why this is interesting. This book is practically the impetus for Superfly as a movie, almost as if, and I have no proof of this, but it's almost as if they could have stole the story for Superfly from this book here. It came out in 1971 on Warner Paperback Library. And what it is, it's not a fictional novel. It's actually, it was written by a journalist named Richard Woodley, who had kind of followed this drug dealer around now. That's just the guy on the car. I hope that's not the drug dealer himself that he would put himself out there like that. But he followed this drug dealer around named Jimmy and, kind of his life in as a dealer and the things he went through. And there are tons of parallels in between the book and the movie. So much so that, in the book itself, Jimmy wants to get out of the game. He has a close buddy in the book named Slick, who kind of would have been the equivalent to the Eddie character from the movie. He has a girlfriend named Phil, who's kind of like a square and kind of wants to just live the normal life like Georgia and to Priest in the movie. And then he had situations kind of like the same where Fat Freddy owed Priest money. He talks about situations with some of his runners or his dealers owing him money. And even so much so that this is a cover of the hardcover. This is the Coke spoon. Like Priest had a Coke spoon that he wore on his chain around the neck. It was his was more a cross, but had the little spoon at the end. And if you look at the cover of this book, that's this is the hardcover. This is the cover of the hardcover edition. That's what I'm trying to say. And then this is the paperback edition. Okay. So, and that scene where, Eddie was describing the American dream and all the stuff in Korea, there's actually a point in the book where we talk about what's in Jimmy's house that when I read this, I was like, this is almost like, so let me read this real quick. We talk about uh, Jimmy's house. Floor was covered with a thick pile carpet of deep red. Curtains were drawn behind a long brown sofa, which faced on the opposite side of the room a large color television. Beside the sofa was a Princess model telephone, blah, blah, blah. Along one wall was an assemblage of high quality electronic gear, a blend of Sony, KLH, Learjet, and amplifiers, receivers, tape deck, speakers, turntable. And then it goes on to talk about some others. But it made me think of a scene when Eddie was like, color TV in every room, 8-track stereo. It's like, it's almost a parallel between the book and the movie in and of itself. The screenwriter for Superfly, the movie, was Philip Fenty. And I was trying to do some research to see if Philip Fenty and Richard Woodley ever knew each other, or if it might have even been one of those situations where they were the same person, one guy using a pseudonym. But based on what I could kind of hunt down, it was not, doesn't seem like they ever met. But again, not saying that Superfly was a ripoff from the book, but it is very close and a lot of parallels. So I would not be surprised if later on we found out that this book was the catalyst that led to the writing of Superfly as a movie.